What's up, guys? It is Monday, October the 16th, 2023. I have to work again today, but I am off for the next 2 days. So I'm going to try and use that to my advantage. I have quite a bit of house improvement stuff that I definitely need to get a move on with. Um, we, well, see, I uploaded, there's going to be another video that's going to get uploaded before this video. I haven't shot an updated version on the exterior of our house in like forever, and I really couldn't believe how long it has actually been since I did an exterior shot, like a walk around of the trailer, and it's been a minute. Um, Turns out I didn't even have a video, an updated video of the trailer with even vinyl siding on it at all. Um, so I went ahead after figuring that out, and I shot a quick little 2-minute exterior walk around shot of the outside, all four sides of the trailer, just to give an idea as to how far along we actually are um, on finishing it. So we have siding, as you could tell in the first video, we have vinyl siding going up on all four sides of the trailer. We haven't yet reached the top, like the end of it, because we pretty much used all of the vinyl that was given to us by the neighbor. And I had no idea, just from what he gave us, I had no idea that was even going to be enough to put us that high up on the walls. We are more than halfway up on all four sides of the trailer, just from the donation vinyl from the neighbor a couple months ago. It's pretty badass that amount did that much. Like I said, had no idea. Okay, got extremely lucky with it. And then we also started on the skirting for the undersides of the trailer. We started skirting on the very front, and it's going pretty well, actually. The front was definitely the most difficult to get started because you have the actual trailer hitch that is coming through the front. So we had to cut and measure and everything and get it set up to where we can get it to go around the trailer hitch. And we got that done. Everything's good there. Also had to drill a small hole in part of the skirting for where the internet cable is coming out of the ground and going into the house. We had to put a little opening in the skirting there for that cable to come through. And then I got the front corners started as well, obviously. And I will say the corners are definitely the most difficult when doing skirting, I would say, because putting on just the starting back rail for the skirting is extremely easy. You don't actually bend the starting rail around the corner. You just cut two different sides or two different halves and you just butt up to each other on the corner. But when you go to do the actual skirting pieces and the actual front rail, those both have to actually bend around the corner. Same thing with the actually with the ground runner rail as well. Also has to take that corner. So those three things were a little bit difficult just because I've never done skirting before at all, actually. So definitely a learning curve to it for sure. I think we got the hang of it because from here on out, we already got past the front corners. So now it's 2 straight shots on the left side and right side all the way back to the very back. And then we'll have the last 2 corners and then the back itself. And then the trailer will be completely skirted 360 degree, all 4 sides. We've been getting the skirting from Sutherland's because Home Depot and Menards and Lowe's, none of them carry trailer skirting for some reason. We found that Sutherland's was pretty much the only, really the only supplying hardware store that even carried it at all. It's not too pricey, but it's not super cheap as well, though. It costs some money just to do like the front with the rails and everything. I mean, we were sitting at about $80 just for the front. That includes the skirting pieces, the ground runner, and the backing rail and the front rail. All that included, obviously. But it was like $80 just to skirt the front of the trailer, and the front of the trailer is only like 12 foot wide. So, give you some kind of, give you an idea of what we're looking at there. I know that they say that you shouldn't really work with vinyl in the winter because the colder temperatures make the vinyl brittle, and when you're cutting it with extremely sharp snips or something, just from it being that brittle in general, you go to make a cut, it can actually shatter that piece. Like that cut that you start on can actually like break into a bunch of different directions, kind of like glass or something. It gets really crazy when it's cold outside. So I don't know exactly. I still think that we have a timeline left. The weather hasn't gotten too extremely cold yet. So I'm thinking we should have enough time to finish the skirting all the way around. And I think we will be okay with waiting until spring to finish the vinyl siding, just because we're more than halfway up the walls, and the amount of overhang that we have coming off of the roof when it rains and the water runs down off the roof overhang, it doesn't even really touch the side of the wall until like lower than half. So by the time that it does drip off and it's hitting below where the skirting is. So I think that we're totally fine for now. Plus we do have, we have the Tyvek house wrap around all the walls anyway. So even if water were to get behind it somehow, it's not getting behind the house wrap itself. It would hit the house wrap and still run down the wall and make its way out elsewhere. You know what I mean? So I'm not really worried. I'm more worried about the skirting because when the temperatures get really cold and you get that cold air and that cold wind blowing through, it's going to blow underneath of the trailer and it's going to blow across all of your water lines. And that is where you run into the possibility of freezing, of your water lines actually freezing solid, which did happen to us last winter. The water lines froze about maybe 3 or 4 times. We got extremely lucky that last winter was not that bad. I have no idea the predictions for this winter, obviously. So I don't know. I can't say anything on that. But we're going to get the trailer skirted all the way around before winter. And I'm going to go and I'm going to buy they sell this foam insulation stuff. It's for your water lines and stuff. It looks kind of like a pool noodle, if you know what those are. It looks like a pool noodle. It's like that type of foam, and it's got the hole punched out in the center to fit on top of the water line. They sell these other ones that are specifically designed for water lines. So I have them to be able to fit the 3/4 main water line and the 1/2-inch water line as well. And I'm thinking having that pipe insulation on the pipes and having the skirting, I really don't think that we're going to have an issue with freezing pipes. That skirting alone is doing so much work to block the wind on its own that's pretty much stopping like 80% of the impact from the cold right there is getting stopped by the skirting itself. And the pipe wrap is pretty much going to pick up all the rest and pick up the slack and help insulate whatever's left, if that makes sense. I know this is a lot to try to understand. Obviously, if you don't know anything about houses or home improvement or any of the technical aspects of remodeling and building a house and stuff like that, this can definitely seem like a lot and can sometimes feel overwhelming at times. But it is necessary to kind of understand how this stuff all works together, so that you can better understand all of the aspects and parts of your house. Okay, especially if you live in an actual trailer, if you live in an actual mobile home, then this is more critical. Okay, we're in trailers. We're not sitting on actual earth on ground, and we don't have basements where all of our stuff is protected from the elements. We are a house on top of a steel frame that is on blocks, that is just hovering kind of above the ground. So everything underneath is kind of sort of exposed. Now, I got all my insulation up in the floor of the trailer. Obviously, I went through with R19, putting that insulation in all the floor cavities from underneath and stuff like that. That actually is going extremely well. I'm almost done with the flooring insulation completely. I literally just have to finish the remains of the right side of the trailer for flooring insulation. So one more roll of R19 insulation will finish everything. And we need more plastic wrap, obviously. So another thing that people don't understand, when you live in a trailer, in a mobile home, underneath your trailer, like behind the skirting, like the actual slabs and everything that you're actually sitting on, your foundation, you are supposed to have a vapor barrier on top of the actual earth, on top of the actual ground, underneath your trailer. You're not supposed to just put your trailer in, you know, on top of the earth and call it a day. That's completely incorrect and not the way to do it. You want that plastic ground barrier sitting on top of that earth. What that does is, first off, that ground vapor barrier, when it sits on top of everything and it blocks it, it's preventing plant life and vegetation and everything from growing while it's underneath the trailer, because that's the last thing you want is actual plants and vegetation growing up underneath your house, because they release water molecules and stuff like that, and vapor, and that can actually rot out the wood underneath your house. Okay, so that's the last thing you want to happen. So you definitely want to get that vapor barrier on there. If you don't have one, you need to get one on there like as soon as you possibly can. Now, the requirement for that vapor barrier, they want you to have, it's been so long since I looked at the actual specs. I think it's 6 mil, or no, not 6 mil. I think they want you to have a minimum of 3 millimeter thick plastic. Could be slightly wrong on that. It's been a minute since I looked it up. But from what I'm remembering, I think that the vapor barrier that we are using for our plastic, I think is like 3.5 thickness. So that should be above the minimum requirement. And the only reason they say that is because they don't want you to have a vapor barrier that's too thin of plastic, because it'll just fall apart and rip and tear and like turn into nothing. You want a decently thick barrier, just so it's strong and durable and won't fall apart really fast. So that's why they call for that minimum thickness on that. But like I said, I'm very optimistic. I think we'll get this thing skirted before winter really gets here and gets bad. Because the last thing you want to do is wake up one morning in December and you go to turn on that hot water to take a shower or something and nothing come out. Like, that would suck. You know what I mean? As for having already been through that already before, I can tell you it's not fun. It's not fun waiting days and days for your water to thaw out, if it even does. Because depending on how cold it is for days and days and days, if the temperature never gets above the freezing point, your pipes aren't thawing out. Okay? So the best thing to do is to prevent it from happening in the first place, right? But that's pretty much going to do it for this one, guys. This video went slightly longer than I anticipated, but that's okay. A lot of educational stuff in here for you guys. But I still have to get into work today, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to jump off here, and I will see you guys in the next video.